Welcome to Monster Monday. So, I bought this at the Dollar Tree and I wanted to check it out, even though I am not a fan of vampire movies, like at all. Every once in a while, I do like a vampire movie quite a bit. Um, there are some I love. I mean, outright love, like Thirst or Martin, and I went through the list a bunch of times. I have maybe like 6 or 7 vampire movies I genuinely love, and then pretty much from there on, it's either like I like them or mostly I just don't like them. It's like my least favorite subgenre of horror. Um, and with this one, I saw a decent amount of praise. In fact, when I posted about this, I got some comments saying like, "Oh, it's really good. It's one of my favorites, or it's the best, or whatever." Um, so I checked it out. Now, all right. I think my notes ripped apart. Oh, they are still here. Okay. Well, they're kind of torn up, but I can, whatever. I know what I want to say about it for the most part. I think we'll see. All right. So the first thing I want to say is that I think the style of this movie and the music are great. In fact, the thing I have to say most about this movie is this movie reminds me a lot of like old school foreign cinema. That's what this feels like. Like when I'm watching this, I feel like I'm watching some kind of like Italian or French 70s romance, freaking, um, erotic vampire movie. That's so much what it feels like. I don't feel like this was made in the last 10 years. Like I feel like even though it looks like it was and the actors are recognizable, I'm not saying that the aesthetic of it's more of the style and the tone of it. It feels and the narrative and how it's structured. It's very loose with things and it's more artsy. It's very romantically centered. That being said, okay, so this is much more style over substance for sure, because this thing is extremely hollow when it comes to its character development. So basically, I can sum up almost the entire fucking film in like a minute. Like seriously, there's not much that happens in this movie. I mean, all you have is our two main characters here. They meet at a video store and are pretty much instantly in love. I've always found it odd, though, that people don't consider vampires to be more pedophilic in nature because they're like hundreds of years older than the people they end up starting to date. Like, oh, I've been around for 500 years and I'm going to date someone who's 30. You're 470 years older than that person. Like, people give people shit when they're 20 years older than their partner. Imagine if you're 470 years older than your partner. I mean, that's basically pedophilia. Like, there's still, I mean, you're in your infancy to a vampire, right? Anyways, doesn't matter. But they meet, and that is the first technical negative of the film, is that there is, like, no selling their, like, relationship or their connection or anything at all. We're just basically supposed to believe that they have to have each other the second they see each other. It's love at first sight, and she's like, oh, hell no. Keep him away from me because I want to eat him. Like, if I get sexually aroused by him, I'm going to turn into a vampire. I'm going to snack on him. I'm going to feed on him, should I say. And I don't want that, so I'm just going to run. And he's going to follow me. And then he's going to let me turn him because he wants to be with me forever. They've known each other 5 seconds. I mean, at least have an interaction. This is just it. When they see each other in the fucking video store, they just lock eyes and she immediately walks out. And then he comes and he talks to her for a little bit. And they go out and they talk for a little bit. It is very short-lived. And then they go to her house and she's like, oh, hell no. Like, you gotta go. And he's like, I'll come back. And she's like, no. And then he comes back anyways, and she bites him, which I don't understand. I guess you have to bite him on the neck for him to change. You can't just bite his lip. It's got to be a specific place to bite. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But she lets him chain her up to the bed so she can prove she's a vampire. She doesn't tell people she's a vampire ever, but she tells this guy in 2 seconds. This is what I'm talking about. There's just no build up. There's no relationship being built here that I'm going to believe. Give the movie 20 minutes to just like have them have a connection, a real connection. Let us see them together. Let's see them connect on stuff. Let's see their interactions and talking with one another. I just don't feel like that's here at all. We're basically just supposed to fill in that blank, and that is a hard blank to fill in. Like, chemistry between characters is everything. You can't just say, like, oh, these two characters are in love. That's it. Buy it. And never show us that actual, like, yearning for one another. Unless this is a relationship that's been going for, you know, years, and they've known each other a long time, and then we're introduced to them when they're into it. But when you're trying to show us these characters meeting for the first time, and then you fast forward the clock 2 minutes and they're fucking like in love, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work for me. I need more than that. Even with like something like Titanic, when Jack and Rose meet for the first time, it's a love at first sight thing for Jack especially. I mean, he's very much into her. But there's so much courting. There's so much dialogue between them when he's walking her around, and she looks at his drawings, and then he comes to dinner, and then he's like, meet me by the clock, you know, make it count, and then they go down below decks and they dance, and they, you know, they do their spin dance and they drink, and she does her tiptoe thing, and then they go and they kiss. That, or then she paints, you know, and then he paints her naked. Like, there's so much fucking connection. There's so much flirtation. There's so much like back and forth of how they don't match up and then how they do match up. Him winning her over when she doesn't seem to think she wants to have anything to do with him. That's how you build a romance. James Cameron knows how to build a fucking romance. This film, there's none. There's zero. And so that's a huge downside, because now, if the relationship wasn't important that much, it wouldn't matter, right? But it's literally the entire fucking purpose and driving force of the movie is their love. So I have to believe that they're crazy about each other. I have to believe I have to want them together. That's just it. I have to, myself as the viewer, care about them as a couple and want to see them succeed, want to see them together. Like, plenty of movies, when I watch Valley Girl, I very much want to see Randy and Julie end up together in the end. I really want that. If these two characters separated in this movie, I wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't care at all. Not one bit. The style of the film is what saves this film. The style and the music, the way things are shot, all of that. The acting is good. Like Milo, whatever the hell his fucking last name is, the main girl here, the sister that comes and fucks up everything in their life. They're all good. The way the film is shot, the way the film is presented in that way is all great. So that is what I think people love about this movie. You know, it is very sexy and erotic and very well shot and directed as far as those pieces go. But as far as like development, there is fucking none. I mean, you have this entire vampire society who have sworn off killing humans. They have this like halfway house that this theater chick owns. I don't know how to say her name. But she owns and operates this house, and it acts as like this halfway house. And our main girl here, she stays there at that house with the caretaker, Irene. I do remember her name. And Irene, that's a cool whole thing too. Is her like her family has been there for generations, like helping with this house because they have this like rare blood condition that vampires seem to think is like not tasty. So like they'll never fucking feast on them for any reason, and that's why they've been able to work there at that place for so long. That's really cool. And this entire society of vampires that's decided, well, no, we're not drinking blood from humans. That's not us. We feed on animals and only animals. And that there's this house that, you know, kind of vampires stay at, that this more famous kind of theater chick operate. There's a lot of cool stuff going on there, but there's fucking almost no development of any of it. It's just kind of just delivered and then not really expanded upon much, and it's not really aired out. It's just kind of like, yeah, here's how this works. Okay, moving on. And there's nothing to really grab onto there. So I think in that sense, for me, it's a failure. As a story, it's a failure. As a piece of art, I think it's very successful. So it's as I said, style over substance 10 times over. There's like no substance here, almost at all. And then when the sister comes into it, she, is killing people right, left, and center. They're not supposed to be doing this. She's just living this reckless life. She thinks she's going to do whatever the hell she wants. Her sister calls her out on it. And I like that this isn't even really explored either. The sister like has the killer sister has this like insane strength that she like completely overpowers her sister because she's eaten the real stuff, right? She's eaten human blood, so she seems to be much stronger than her sister because of it. But yeah, I mean, her and her sister's relationship, I don't know. I don't feel much there. Like they talk a little bit in the movie, but not enough. Not enough to find that dynamic to it. Like I get that they don't like each other, and I like that her sister is like she wants her the fuck out and all this. But I don't know. There's just not too much to it. And then she goes out and she kills that guy at the nightclub, and then she brings that couple back to the house that she's gonna fuck, and then she ends up not doing it, but then the girl. Her sister is the one who kills them, and then the sister seduces the boyfriend, and the boyfriend admits it to his girlfriend, and then they kind of like exchange like admittance, like, oh yeah, you did this and I did this, oops. And then the sister just goes and drives recklessly for no reason, and then crashes the car, and then she tries to like crawl back to the house before dawn, and then she's like burning in the sunlight, and Irene, the caretaker, comes down, and she's like, help me, and Irene's like, nah, and she just like lights a cigarette and just sits there and watches her burn. And then she goes in the house, and then they decide they're just gonna like move to France or something, and then that's it. And then like Michael Rappaport is his, because Milo's character is a screenwriter, and he's supposed to write this script, and now he has all the time in the world, and he's written something more sellable, because Michael Rappaport's like always tells her like, oh, he used to be this pretentious idiot, and now he's sending me stuff I can actually sell. Or wait, no, she kills his agent. That's what it is. The sister kills the couple. It's her that kills the agent. Okay, that's right. Whatever. Doesn't matter. But she kills someone. Anyway, but yeah. I mean, and I love Michael Rappaport. And his performance in this is fine. Everybody's performance is fine. But he comes over and he just kind of talks shit about the guy at dinner for like 5 minutes, and then he's dead. And that's it. I mean, there's just nothing to anybody in this. I don't want to beat this fucking style over substance thing over the head, but it really, really, really is that way. When they're having the sex scene, his dick and balls are like completely blacked out. Like you can just tell so easily that's happening there. I thought that was pretty funny. The main girl here reminds me of Bella Thorne a lot. When she like looks around, there's certain angles that she is that just looks like Bella Thorne. Beautiful vampire Juna, Juna. Obviously the D is silent, so Juna. Is that her name in the movie? I don't know. I never remember people's names. And then Paolo. I think so. Juna and Paolo. Anyway. And yeah, that's what I put. Feels like old foreign cinema. It's exactly what it is. And yeah, I mean, the sister that's out at the nightclub and brings that guy outside, at least she lets him fuck her till completion, and then she kills him. Nothing grinds my gears more than in a scene where a guy's like getting laid, and then the killer kills him like mid-sex. It's like, dude, at least let the guy come first. Unless it's a revenge movie, then you're like, fuck you, you ain't getting the orgasm. But if it's just some random, like this girl's like, hey, you know, I'm gonna take your life, so I'm gonna at least let you come first. You know, you're welcome. High five. And then low two. I think I said everything. I mean, I don't really have much to say. You know, the sister brings the main girl here, a virgin who's like obsessed with her, the stage actor, and she basically like lures her into eating this girl, which is really sad. I actually thought that was going to go in a different way. I thought that was going to amount to something. Really, all it amounts to is that when Juna goes to, what the fuck is her name? It starts with like an X, whatever her name is. She just doesn't believe that the sister would be killing people, even, or she's just like, I don't want to investigate that because I just killed someone, and if I did, I'd be a hypocrite. Whichever way it is, like, it doesn't amount to anything. Like her bringing that virgin and getting her to kill her, and then the sister coming to her and being like, hey, this happened, and she's like, nah. What does that amount to? What happens after that? Nothing. The sister just wrecks her car, dies, and then they all leave and move to fucking France or wherever, and then it's over. Like, what is that? That's not story. That's not good storytelling. Nothing comes of that at all. It's just kind of there. So this is what I'm talking about. Just watch it for the style. Ignore pretty much everything else. That's how I feel about it. Now, one of you will be a big fan of this movie, and you'll explain to me why I'm wrong. And I'm all ears listening to that. Genuinely. Please. And this is also on Tubi, or so I saw when I looked it up on Google. When I Googled it, I saw that Stage Fright and this were on Tubi. So supposedly, this is also on Tubi. So if you want to check it out, or if you want to pick up the Blu-ray or the DVD or whatever, I have the Blu-ray here. I got it at the Dollar Tree, so you can try your luck at a local Dollar Tree. But I don't feel like I did a very good job at selling this. I like that the video store that they go into in the beginning has VHS still. So, and this movie is not that old. It's pretty recent. How many video stores do you know of within the last 5 years still have VHS tapes? I'm sure they exist somewhere. I'm not saying they don't. It's just, that's a rarity. It's about as rare as running into a vampire, probably. And yeah, some of the sex scenes are sexy, except there's nowhere near enough nudity in this movie. For as sexy as and erotic as it's supposed to feel, we see the girl's nipple like come out of her bra once, which is hot, but it's not enough. Like, we're gonna have this like full blown kind of erotic, sexy vampire movie where they're having sex a bunch of times in the movie. Show me some tits. Show me some super fucking erotic, sexy shit. You know what I mean? Like, this is exactly what it calls for. Like, you know, watch Original Sin or something with Angelina Jolie or something. Like, it's just tits for days, right? So, I don't know. It's just, you're going to make an erotic film. Make an erotic film. But cool style. I don't know if this director did anything else, but she did a pretty good job here. She wrote and directed it. But I'll have to look into if she did anything else. But cool style. I just wish that she would have written more, a less hollow, less superficial plot. I didn't see a plot here, so doesn't matter. Anyways, so I tried to drag that on as long as I could because I know Monster Mondays are supposed to be like in depth and long. But dude, I probably could have done this in 10 minutes. But this is what I had. I didn't have time to watch another one. Honestly, this isn't the greatest movie to cover for Monster Monday, but some of you like this movie, so let me know below how wrong I am. Overall, it was fine. It's a pretty movie. Check it out if you want. Adios.